Oh, the sun's going down. Man, there's an epic view that way. But I can't set up the camera. You never see nothing because the sun's like right there. I can barely see anything right now. Maybe I should move. But I was hoping to give everybody a view of something, you know? It's all about getting everybody out here in the real world with me and showing you a view. Actually, hold on a minute. I think I know a spot. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna go find our spot. I know there's another spot where I think I can pull off showing you guys some mountains of snow on them. I got snowed on this morning, believe it or not. I'm gonna go try another spot. All right. Well, I was gonna take you guys drive a ways over that way and show you this one mountain range, but there's not enough time and light left. Uh-oh. What am I doing? Pocket dialed somebody. Yeah, I'm all packed up. I found a shady spot here. This'll do. And I think we're facing, you know, I'll check my compass on here. I'm pretty sure we're facing due north. Let me see. Yep. Well, due north is that way right there, just a shave off with the camera. Anyway, I'm beat. I got the truck, all my camp completely packed up. I had a huge hike this morning. I was actually in the snow. I was getting snowed on. Climbed a mountain and slinked through the forest and actually got on a bunch of elk. There's a decent bull in that herd, but not what I'm looking for. Although I legally could have shot him or one of the cows if I was into that, but I'm not. They're open right now too. And then I packed up camp, ran into a fella who, his uncle used to be an outfitter years ago and used to own the Tetsa River gas stop on Alaska Highway. Cliff Andrews, crazy. And he knew a lot of people, and a lot of the trails, and a lot of hunting spots that I know. He's followed some of my stuff online too. And he has up hunting with his elderly father for the weekend. He's from the north here. We had a real good long conversation, great guy. And then I also met up with the trapper, a guy from up north here. He was unloading his gear with his very kind native wife, and they were going trapping, running his trap line, getting ready to do the winter grind. Very kind person. He comes from a prominent family name in the north, the Beatties, the Beattie family. They've been in the outfitting and outdoor everything north forever, the Beattie family. I'm babbling, aren't I? I'm kind of tired. One problem I have with hunting when I'm hunting is I don't stop. I don't know where it comes from. Like, I don't relax. I don't take a day off and laze around and camp and get caught up in sleep ever. I go at it like every second's the last second. Kind of works against me because I run myself not completely in the ground. Like, I make sure I eat properly and drink water, but I don't know where I get that from. I know where I got it from fishing. Like, I fished that way too, but the very first job I ever had was commercial fishing, and you did not stop. You got up at 3:30 in the morning, you did not stop. You get to bed at midnight. But you just don't stop and you go as fast as you can. You get that gear and you get back in the water. And I guess maybe that's got something to do with it. With the fishing parks, that's how I fish. Maybe the hunting part comes from guiding, knowing the client only has 10 days or only has 12 days, or whatever they got to hunt. And you got to get it done, and I don't waste a second. Maybe that's where it comes from. I don't know. I'm babbling, aren't I? But whatever. I know that I prefer to hunt by myself, but when I take friends with me, they know it's not going to be a holiday. It's not going to be a holiday, and you're going to lose weight. Anyway, who do we got? We got some voices to be heard here. This email is titled, "You Ain't That Tough, LOL." Yes, I am. What's going on, man? The name is Jesse, and I live in Florida. Feel free to use my name because F the naysayers. As like everyone else interested in the whole Sasquatch ordeal, I've been watching your channel for some time now. I've always been interested in things that other people don't believe in. I mean, everything unnatural can't be fake, or else there wouldn't be a story or a name for it, right? Anyways, I grew up in the swamp most of my life, and have been an avid outdoorsman ever since I could go to the woods by myself. Nothing really shakes you when you're used to dealing with it on a normal basis. But there isn't a person alive that can't be shook. So this is my story on the time I realized I wasn't as tough as I thought I was. Me and my wife moved to Georgia for work and for a better life. Due to some family issues, we now reside back in Florida. We moved to Georgia in 2015, and we lived there for about a year, give or take. My occupation at the time was at a steel mill. As like usual, you tend to make a friend or two. I went from second shift to first shift, which was a relief because driving home at 1 a.m. from getting off second shift into the middle of nowhere, which is where we lived, the deer were always on a suicide mission or something. Well, one day, a buddy from second shift asked me if me and my wife would like to come over for a beer and a fire after he had gotten off, which after an 80-hour week, of course, I accepted. Me and the wife waited for the call to head to his house, and we finally got it around midnight. What? Midnight? His house was about a 45-minute ride, and the road we had to take to get to the main road through town was about 10 miles or so between two mountains. We were smokers then, up until we had a couple of young'uns. We took my work truck so we could have one on the ride. My window didn't go up and down well, so you had to roll it up with both hands. So, once I was done, I stopped in the middle of the road to do so. As I was rolling my window up, I seen headlights coming up on the curve ahead. Only people you normally see at this time of night on the road would be a state trooper. So, I hurried to get my window up because I didn't want them to see me just stopped in the road. Because they would for sure stop and give me shit because the road was a hot spot for poachers. Hurriedly, I tried to get up to speed before the vehicle made an appearance. As I approached the curve, the car came past me and immediately hit the brakes. Immediately looking at my speedometer, I was at about 45. Looking in my side mirror, I seen them beginning to make a U-turn. As I went to tell my wife, make sure she had her seatbelt on. As I went to tell my wife, make sure she had her seatbelt on, caught my eye on the curve ahead. I looked to see what it was, and standing on the slope was a man. He was massive. You could only see from about mid-torso to the top of the head, which seemed to be about 5 feet. Being working in a steel mill, you have to dead on with measurements. So I got pretty good on not having to use a tape measure and just eyeing things. This man was covered in what I can only say is a burnt orange, brown, fall-type colored hair. It wasn't thick. You could see the skin through the hair. He was about 4 feet across the chest and no neck. The eyes were pretty far apart and reflected a reddish color. We were about 30 yards away when my high beams hit it. The man immediately threw his arms up and jumped back toward the tree line and was gone as if he wasn't supposed to be seen. At this time, you could tell it wasn't a suit. You could see the muscles bulge as it turned to get away. And all I can say is that the Incredible Hulk didn't have a shit on this guy. The mass of this being was incredibly intimidating. My guess he had to be anywhere between 500 to 700 pounds. And it was over as quick as it all started. We drove in silence for about 2 minutes, and I looked over at my wife, and she is just stuck looking out the windshield. Then she goes to say, "Okay, what the F was that?" "I'm from New Jersey. We don't see shit like that." To try and ease her mind, I responded, "A bear." She immediately responded, "Bears don't have arms and look like Arnold Schwarzenegger on even more steroids and hasn't shaved in 5 decades. Try again." Not even gonna lie. I knew exactly what it was, but my brain was still trying to process it and make up its mind on how it wanted to feel. Needless to say, I took the longer way back to the house that night. LOL. Telling my neighbor about it the next day, we went to the spot where everything happened. We took some pictures and some measurements of the area, and it honestly frightened me. No doubt. Where this man was standing when me and my wife saw him was about halfway down the slope, so it put him at 10 foot 7 inches on the measuring tape. The tree line was 30 feet away, and he leapt from where he was standing and then disappeared into the tree line. So for me to be going almost 50 and him to get out of my sight at 30 yards before I passed him, he had to be moving incredibly fast. So that's when I realized I don't feel so tough anymore in the woods with a gun, knowing that there's something out there that damn big and is more intelligent than we could ever dream of being. I've had more encounters with these beings while retrieving trail cameras, hunting and scouting, or just even going for a walk. I've only seen these people twice more. But you just know when they're there, it seems, because the feeling of their presence is odd itself. I give them respect, and I leave the area if I feel any type of way besides welcome, and just come back another day. Sorry for the book. I just feel that if you're going to be reading something or listening to it, you need details so it'll make sense. Anyways, man, hope all's well. Thank you for everything you do for us. We appreciate you, man, big time. Thank you for emailing us with your truth, being honest. Appreciate that. Huge. Well, and then welcome to the club, another member of this massive global club. It's kind of funny, you know, when you think about the descriptions, a lot of people say 1,000 pounds, 700 pounds. I don't know how big that dude was I saw that first time, but something like this. This is a 300 short magnum, 300 Win Mag, 338s. This will punch something that weighs 2,000 pounds sideways. Right? There's something they mean when they have looked at people that had guns and said, "Don't do it." They're saying don't do it because it's going to hurt them. For reals. Think about it. They know what guns are, they know what they do, and they don't want nothing to do with them. So a lot of people think, you know, you hear a lot of people like, "I don't think my gun would have been adequate." I'm not saying shoot one of these people at all. All I'm saying is don't underestimate the power of some of these high-power rifles we have. They're a lot more deadly than a lot of people realize. My Sasquatch story. Dear Steve, I'm one of those guys that has spent thousands of hours in the outdoors hunting and fishing. I'm 62 years old now, but this encounter happened to me approximately 20 years ago in central North Michigan while deer scouting a wilderness area. Let's just say I'm very familiar with all kinds of wildlife, their sign and their vocalizations. I was hiking a remote area and was approximately 2 miles in off a 2-track. I found an oak ridge earlier that spring and wanted to come back early fall to scout the area for buck sign. This ridge was steep, rolling, and was about a half a mile long. I've been scouting all morning and decided to take a break and drink some water and have a sandwich. I was about 1/3 of the way down from the top of that ridgeline, walking a game trail. I'd sat down in a deadfall, was sitting there for about 10 minutes, when all of a sudden something started screaming at me. It was so close, and it was the most shocking scream I've ever heard while deer hunting at home or out west hunting for elk. The only thing I can truly compare it to was witnessing a space shuttle launch. That launch chattered, rumbled, typos. That launch chattered, rumbled right through my body, and is about the most awesome thing I ever experienced. The reason I bring this up is the comparison was the same experience. The screams actually rumbled deep inside my chest. Although I never saw what was making the screams, years later I realized I probably was experiencing a Bigfoot encounter. Look, I've been involved in wildlife organizations for many years. Have served as a regional director, and I have no reason to worry about what the idiots have to say. I've never had another experience like it, but it was beyond anything we know as normal. Although I wasn't really scared during this encounter, I remember walking away while this thing was letting me know I wasn't welcome there. Well, brother, you can share my story if you like, and my name. I don't give a rat's ass what anyone else thinks. May the magic of the whitetail forever enrich your life. Perry Silvio Russo. My friends call me Silvio. Right on, man. Well, we're your friends, Silvio, so I appreciate you sending that story in, man. I think about the screams quite often, usually when I'm by myself going through thick timber after I've been hiking through a mile of timber, and I try not to, but you can't help it sometimes. All of a sudden I'll just picture if it goes down right now, what am I going to do? I'm not into it. I don't want that. I want to have that scream at me because it's going to, God, where I hunt, if I'm like 2 miles in forest, 2 miles of dense forest, and I'm out there 2 miles, mile and a half, whatever, from the road, and you get screamed at, be like, oh shit, this is going to suck, you prick. You know what I mean? Like, well, come on, mind your own, leave me alone. That's going to be a long walk out. It's been a long walk out for many, many people that have emailed us here. And then to be paralleled, right? Paralleled the whole way, step for step. It's not nice. Man, it's getting cold. It is getting cold as that sun's about to disappear. Appreciate you, man. I appreciate everybody so much. Not sure if you read my email prior to this one, so I resent it. That sounds like a familiar title. I don't know, I'm going to read it. Hey, Steve, I sure appreciate this channel. You're helping more people in this world than you know. Not many people step into their calling in life, but I'm here to tell you, you certainly have. You were very encouraging to my son when you read his email, and he says you are the man he hopes he can be one day. Holy shit. Appreciate those kind words. My son, Mac, wrote into you while he was working, hauling luxury cars from Halifax to British Columbia, and shared his experiences with you. We might have had this one years ago. Well, that turned out to be a parent's worst nightmare. They turned out to be criminals and almost killed him. What? No, I haven't read this. It was back in the end of 2022. My family did not celebrate Christmas that year as we didn't know whether we were going to have him back home alive. What? His biological father got him the job and my son trusted him, and he was almost murdered. Oh my God. This mama did not sleep for that time until he was able to escape and make it back to New Brunswick. Jesus. I think it still somewhat affects him and he isn't the same happy young man. He is currently our lead guitarist at our church. He is extremely gifted musically. I thought I would share that with you as I can remember hearing you share his email on the channel. Wow, I'm glad he made it out of there. I hope those dirty bastards are paying for it. We've been customers of Sarah's store. All right, I bet she appreciates that huge. Thank you. My encounter started when I was in high school, hearing a scream in the middle of the night that I'd never heard in my life before. My mom said it was probably a panther. We lived in a farmhouse in a rural area. We lived in a farmhouse in a rural area in the country here in New Brunswick. My experience has started again after that. I have experienced that gut feeling while walking in the woods behind my house, like I had to leave. It was very ominous. I've seen something tall, dark, and extremely large cross the road upright on two legs one evening at dusk about 10 miles from my home on the Route 8 highway on the way to Doketown, New Brunswick. I also caught something on camera one afternoon as I was looking out my window. It felt like I was being watched. So I just started snapping pictures, and I caught what I was told as an elemental spirit snarling at me from within the bushes. There's a lot of weird phenomena in the wilderness, as I've seen from watching your channel. And my belief is it's going to increase. I know there are reports of Bigfoot and Dogman here in New Brunswick, and, well, people are scared to talk about it due to ridicule. Thank you for all you're doing with this channel, and keep it up. I know you've helped countless people, and I appreciate your no bullshit way of bringing it out to the masses. God bless you and Sarah and Chippy, and give Ruby a big hug from us here in central New Brunswick. All right, well, I'm sure you know Sarah's from New Brunswick too. And there's a lot's gone out there. Even Sarah's family has seen a huge, bright light lit up the forest way out back behind the farmhouse at night, like it was like bink. And that was out of Port Elgin, New Brunswick. I've had a lot of people email me from New Brunswick seeing these people, whatever you want to call them there. Appreciate that email big time. Thank you, Heather. Oh, I'm getting cold. I got wet feet. My pants are wet. And it's cold enough to snow this morning, so imagine how cold it is right now, and that sun is about to disappear. I might have cut this a little short. I got to go find somewhere to sleep. I'm just like a homeless animal right now. Steve, so this is my encounter. This happened in Southern Oregon in 1977. I was 14 years old, and we lived very rural. Our property backed up to BLM land, so I had a lot of room to run. I was constantly in the woods hunting or down on the river fishing. In the winter, I ran a trap line for extra money. I thought that I knew every animal in the woods. We had seen the Gimlin film when it came out, and my parents told me that it was not real. So I never gave it another thought until that summer day. I was riding my horse up behind the house, and he started to act up and was snorting and trying to take off. I was concentrating on getting him under control. He kept looking up the hill, so I looked up the hill. And about 50 yards away was an 8-foot-tall Bigfoot sitting on a stump watching me. It scared the hell out of me. He had reddish-brown hair all over him. Needless to say, I took off on the horse. I had to go about 6 miles out of my way, not to go back the way I came. 6. I told a couple of people over the years, and they all scoffed at my story. I continue to travel and hunt those mountains, and have never seen any more of them. I've heard him scream and growl at night. There have been rumors of other people seeing tracks and seeing him. This sighting scared the living shit out of me. I'm a veteran and worked in the woods as a logger, so I think that I'm pretty tough. I've never been this scared in my life. I appreciate what you're doing for people like me. All the best, Russ. Russ, you're doing it for people right alongside me, my man. Just sharing your email, right? This place is nothing without men like you and all the women and the children, everybody that comes here. You know, I was thinking about that the other day. You know, I was just checking some trail cameras I got in a drainage not too far. I got to hike in there. There's a big moose in there, big bear. And you know, why the terror? You know, it's kind of confusing, you know, even after, especially we've been talking about this and sharing the truth about this shit for so long now. Why the terror from just a visual sighting? You know, if I see a grizzly bear right there, walk out of the willow. Oh, shit, there's a grizzly. Right? I go, oh, shit, there's a grizzly, and I'm going to talk to him calmly, and he's going to spin around, take off, whatever, or a moose. you know, a frickin' 10-foot tall at the top of the antlers bull moose comes walking out right here. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to be in absolute terror just from the sight of it. It's not going to happen. If a bull elephant walked out of the woods right now in front of me, I'll bet my jaw would hit the dirt, but I wouldn't be in absolute terror. Do you know what I mean? You know what I'm getting at, you guys? What of a frustrating thing the terror is. I don't get it. I mean, it's almost as if with all the people sharing here and how much we talk about these truths, you think it would be conditioning us in a way to not be engulfed in terror when, if or when this weird shit goes down. Like if I was looking across, I'm on a little bit of a gas industry lease chunk right here. There's a big chunk of dirt in the middle of nowhere. And I'm just saying, if I looked across it right now, was that 200 yards? And I seen a 10-foot tall, muscle-bound, no-neck, hair-covered being standing there staring at me with red glowing eyes, I'll guarantee you I am probably going to be shitting myself instantly, just from that sight. Why? You know what I mean? Why is it that's why is it? Why is it that's such a strong factor? How come I'm not going to go like this? Oh shit, look at that. There's a 10-foot tall Sasquatch. Crazy. And his eyes are glowing red. Red-eyed one. Wow. At this stage of the game, why can't I just go, hey, come over here for a minute. You want to sit down and bullshit? Why don't you come over here and show me exactly how your eyes glow red like that? Do you know what I mean? Sounds kind of funny, but seriously though, why not? How come we can't do that shit? Why the terror? So what I'm getting at is why the absolute terror just from that visual every single time. Well, all right, 98% of the time. I'm beat. I gotta get caught up in sleep. I just ramble away like a dumbass out here by myself, don't I? What's this? Oh God, this is an encyclopedia, that one. That ain't gonna happen today. Hold on a minute. Oh, yeah, it's getting cold. Holy. Wet feet and pants don't help, right? I'm gonna have to get going after this. Cut it short. Hey, Steve. First off, I want to say thanks for all you do. You're a no bullshit, no nonsense type of guy, and that's what we need more of in this day and in age. Appreciate the kind words, man. Although I've shared these encounters and run-ins with family and a few friends, most don't believe me. I gotta straighten out the typos. Most don't believe me, as most people nowadays only believe what they witness and see themselves, which is fine. But I not only listen and read everyone's stories you share, I store all the info for later use if needed. You just never know, right? That's what we're here for, right? I live in New Hampshire, very close to Vermont. And these are just a couple of encounters I'll share with you today. I've always been fascinated by Sasquatch since I was a kid, growing up within miles of the woods growing up with miles of woods in a backyard. We spent 3 to 4 days a week camping out there just for the excitement. Every night, different things would come to the tent and sniff, bark, scream, whatever. A few times they were so insane we hightailed it through the woods back home. My brother and another friend both said they saw something that looked like a Bigfoot on 2 different occasions. But we were kids and just assumed it was something else. Now that I'm grown and 40 years old, I've done and seen a great deal in life. I've had ups and downs, been drugged through hell and back a few times, and I'm finally in a good spot in my life. Good for you, man. Just sounds like a regular life to me. Number 1, the first encounter is with my ex-girlfriend. We enjoy riding on back roads / dirt roads around 1 to 2 a.m., as we have seen numerous animals on the roads before. This time we decided to pull off to the side of a dirt road in this weird spot, very dark. We're going to have a smoke, and we're just talking. And we're only outside the car for maybe 1 minute before this event transpired. What happened next was very loud running coming straight at us through the woods. It sounded like a frickin' bulldozer at 40 miles per hour. You could hear trees crashing down as it ran them over. Then another one off to our left, and then off to our right. We had 3 of them coming in on us so fast, shaking the ground as they ran us down. This was absolutely terrifying. We couldn't get to the car fast enough. The doors were locked, and I remember telling my ex to hurry up in a panic and unlock them. We finally jumped inside the car and locked the doors, and the sound stopped. I'm assuming there was a small clan of them right in the woodline watching us. I don't know if we disturbed them, but the first noise was a few hundred yards away. So by the time we heard all 3 of them from each direction, they were on us in probably under 10 seconds. Probably to this day, one of the most terrifying events has happened to me. Number 2. This next one was with my son last year. He knows of Bigfoot, and he is reluctant to go into the woods most of the time now. I don't force the subject on him, but he sees me watch it, read it, etc., and he always seems to be into what Dad is. Well, we went for a walk in those same woods I grew up in for the first 20 years of my life. Now we just live a few hundred yards from where I lived as a kid, so it's pretty cool to be able to show my kid the old forts, the ponds, and what we did when I was his age. That'd be pretty cool. The time of this event was around 4-ish in the afternoon. 4-ish in the afternoon. We just went for a hike for something to do, but also seeing what we could see for sign around. He's able to spot breaks and X's and bends and leans, etc., things that most normal people would walk by. He knows some are natural, of course, but some just aren't. This time we came up to the good-sized pond, and here's something way up in a tree. We could barely see it moving a bit, but couldn't tell what or why. But could hear nuts raining down to the forest floor. It wasn't a squirrel, and it wasn't acorns. We walked closer slowly. I just pictured in my head a small juvie shaking the top branches 80 feet plus up for pine nuts, and then one collecting them on the ground. And all of a sudden, we got a very weird feeling overtake us of fear. I wanted to run, but I didn't. Straight ahead of us, coming from the woods down by the pond, something charged us. All I could think is a bluff charge to get us out of their spot. It was barreling ass fast as hell straight toward us. We could both tell it was on 2 legs. It was hitting the ground so hard that we could feel each step inside our bodies. I grabbed my hand and put it over my son's mouth and kind of hugged him and prepared for impact. It just sounded like it was moving 30 miles per hour right towards us. And right before it got to us, it veered off to the right. Oh my God. We were both shaking, hearts pounding, and weren't sure what was happening. I've never been bluff charged, but I'm certain that's what it was. The weirdest thing about this is even though it got to within 50 feet of us before it veered off, we saw nothing. No creature, no person, no deer, nothing. We stood in place quietly talking about what just happened. My kid was 9 at the time, and what he said next made my hair stand on end. I said maybe it's just a deer trying to make him feel better, but he stopped me and said, "Dad, it was on 2 feet like a person." I about lost it, and I said, "I know." We began holding hands, retreating back towards the road, which was only 200 yards from us. And this thing walked with us, stopping when we stopped, and literally walked us out of the woods. We couldn't see it, but it wasn't far off. I believe we got too close to a small one, possibly with a mother, and they just wanted us out. After that, we didn't go into the woods for a month, which is weird because I love the woods and always have. And these are just 2 of the stories that were the most hair-raising and terrifying for me over the years. I've had numerous things happen, but these are the ones I will share for now. Maybe I can find a little time down the road to write some other encounters. Thanks again for all you do, Steve. Kind regards. Stay safe out there. Joshua and Bradley Purple. Okay, Joshua and Bradley, appreciate that email, man. Hope you guys are safe still. And still go in the woods and you haven't had anything bad happen. But yeah, you got more knowledge. Send it here, man. Send it here. Well, I suppose I should probably suppose I should probably go find somewhere to sleep. I'm not gonna unpack all my tent, all my shit. I think I'm just gonna, I got a cot in the truck, a couple sleeping bags. Probably just put that out somewhere and throw a tarp over me and sleep that way. Put on my long underwear. So quiet out here. But I'm gonna get ripping. Maybe tomorrow I'll show you guys some real cool places, mountainous places tomorrow, I hope, maybe. Depending on where I go. But I got the Starlink, so I can do this anytime I want. So I'll be back, I should be back tomorrow, I'd imagine. But if you got something you want to share with the world through me, or the people here, the members of your club, the members of the club, email it to me at sharemystory@howtohunt.com, all right? What else? One more quick mention. If you got any spare prayers of comfort for Sarah, she's really, really, really distraught right now. Her lifelong little companion, her little dog, he's lived forever, and she's gonna have to put him down. It's absolutely killing her. It's heartbreaking to hear her on the phone. Oh my God. So anyways, send out some warm thoughts for Sarah. And yeah, what do you do, right? It's such a hard thing. It killed me when I had to put my horse down. Killed me. I still get choked up about him now and then. I don't know why. It hurts so much. It never goes away. We all get a turn though, right? It's just tough to deal with it sometimes. But Sarah's having a pretty tough go with it right now. So prayers of comfort would be appreciated. And I'll be back later, everyone. Hope everybody's happy, safe. Happy and safe. Oh. 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 Oh.